Single dad's 3-day struggle to return milk exposed, then a black maid's incredible act. TRANSFOR, the chaos of Saturday morning had begun. Mark Jenkins, a hard-working single dad, found himself in the middle of a perfect storm. The smell of pancakes wafted through the air, and he could hear the unmistakable clatter of his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, dashing around the living room, her excitement palpable. "Dad! Is breakfast ready?" she shouted, her giggle echoing through the house. But Mark's heart sank when he remembered the missing milk. The mere thought of Lily's disappointed face tore at him like a knife. Wiping a hand across his brow, Mark hurriedly dressed. Driving his beat-up old truck through the bustling streets, the world outside was alive with Saturday buzz. People were laughing, chatting, and rushing for last-minute errands. But all he could think about was fixing his mistake before the morning slipped away. "Just a gallon of milk," he muttered to himself, clenching the steering wheel as if it were the last life raft in a wild sea. The grocery store loomed ahead like a fortress. Mark rushed inside, dodging shopping carts and oblivious shoppers, the fluorescent lights flickering above like his anxiety. He could practically hear Lily's tiny voice asking for cereal. As he reached the dairy aisle, his heart raced. But then, his world spiraled. The milk he bought 2 days ago had soured. He'd need to return it. He found his way to the customer service desk, where a stern-faced manager stood, arms crossed, as if waiting for a showdown. "What do you mean you want to return spoiled milk?" the manager barked. Each word landed like a slap, and Mark's frustration boiled. "I have my daughter waiting for her breakfast," he began, feeling small but determined. But the manager shrugged off his plea, eyes darting to the next customer. Mark felt helpless, his love for Lily battling with an institution that seemed cold and uncaring. Before he could respond, a group of teens wandered past, laughing and tossing sarcastic remarks. "What's with the grown-up whining, dude?" one of them sneered, sending Mark's blood pressure rising. He clenched his fists and turned back to the manager, desperation mounting as he tried to remain calm. He took a deep breath, reminding himself how much his daughter depended on him, but just then, Rosa appeared, a spirited, resilient maid pushing a cart of supplies, her warm smile reaching out like a lifeline. "What's got you all riled up, dear?" she asked, her gentle eyes filled with understanding. In that moment, it felt as if the chaos faded, replaced by a shared heartbeat of compassion. Mark poured out his story, the struggles of a single father trying to do right by his child. Rosa nodded, sharing her own adversities. "Don't let them bring you down," she whispered, "kindness can fight the hardest battles." "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the hours stretched into days, Mark clutched tight to the hope Rosa offered. With every failed attempt to return that milk, and every ridicule he faced, he felt that heavy weight pushing him down further. But in the depths of his struggle came an unexpected moment, a chance to rise above the tides. Just when everything seemed lost, Rosa's gesture, a simple offer to share some milk from her own fridge, shattered his expectations. Standing there in a store that buzzed with humans yet felt so isolating, Mark realized that true fatherhood didn't just mean providing materially, but also nurturing connections that wove the fabric of community. The question lingered in the air. Thick with tension and unrealized dreams, would this act of compassion be enough to pull him back from the brink? Would his fragile sense of fatherhood withstand the storm ahead? Whatever the next chapter held, Mark could feel it, a light amidst the chaos, pushing him toward an answer he desperately needed. Mark's heart raced as he processed Rosa's offer. In a world that seemed determined to bring him down, here was a stranger lending a hand, as if reminding him that kindness still existed even in the smallest gestures. Are you sure? He stammered, unsure if he deserved such generosity. Oh honey, you need it more than I do, Rosa replied, her eyes twinkling. And I don't want that sweet girl of yours going without pancakes. Her unwavering support instilled in him a warmth he hadn't known in a while. For all his struggles, this moment ignited a spark of determination. Okay, let us do this, he said, resolving to make things right. In the parking lot, he climbed back into his truck, a bit lighter despite the mountain still ahead. He turned the key and the engine popped to life, but he could feel something else revving up inside him, a sense of purpose mixed with urgency. When he returned home, the smell of pancakes was still lingering in the air, but something was different. Lily stormed into the kitchen, her hair bouncing with every step. Dad! You're back! She squealed, and her eyes lit up as she spotted the bag of milk he held triumphantly. You did it! Of course, I did! Mark exclaimed, feeling a swell of pride. They worked together in the kitchen, laughter mixing with the sounds of sizzling in the pan. From the corner of the counter, the milk sat like a promise fulfilled, tangible evidence that their breakfast could return to normalcy. As they flipped pancakes together, moments of joy bubbled up, the syrup drizzled and the whipped cream transformed the simple breakfast into an adventure. But amid the giggles and the sweetness, the undercurrent of the last few days tugged at him. Mark's thoughts drifted back to Rosa. She had shown him something vital, something he feared he'd lost: a community. He wrestled with the notion of opening his heart and home to those around him, feeling the weight of his solitary existence pressed down. After breakfast, with Lily busy stacking her toys, Mark found himself looking through the phone book he'd never bothered to open. He thought of the local community center that he never reached out to. Perhaps there were resources, support groups, or playdates for Lily. Maybe it was time to break his self-imposed isolation and forge new connections. As the day wore on, he found himself drawing up a plan for the week. He would take Lily to that center, and maybe even stop by the grocery store again, not for milk, but to thank Rosa. He could already envision the welcoming smile that would greet him, but then, his thoughts took a darker twist. What if those people weren't what he hoped? What if they judged him? The little voice of doubt crept in, whispering fears he'd buried deep for too long. Mark squeezed his eyes shut and swatted those thoughts away. Dad, are we going to the park today? Lily's voice broke through, and he opened his eyes to find her watching him expectantly, her innocent smile urging him forward. Absolutely, kiddo, he replied, masking his own uncertainty with enthusiasm. As they laced up their shoes, a part of him felt like they were stepping into uncharted territory. Could he really become part of something bigger, a community that embraced both his joys and struggles? With each step toward the park, he felt that the walls he'd built around himself were slowly starting to crumble. Hope flooded in, replacing doubt. It was a leap of faith, one that terrified him while simultaneously thrilling his heart. What awaited him there as he ventured beyond his comfort zone? Would the change he craved come through? Or would he discover that sometimes, the hardest challenges brought the sweetest rewards? The park loomed ahead, a patchwork of green amidst the hustle of the neighborhood. Mark felt his pulse quicken as they approached the entrance. The vibrant sounds of laughter and chatter wafted toward him, mingling with the earthy smell of grass and fresh air. It was a world alive with possibilities, yet Mark was held back by a creeping sense of apprehension. Look, Dad! There's a slide! Lily squealed, pointing excitedly as she pulled him toward the playground area. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Mark couldn't help but smile. He felt a sliver of the weight lift as they entered a realm filled with laughter and joy. As Lily dashed toward the playground, Mark took a moment to breathe. He noticed parents watching their kids, some chatting with one another, their faces open and warm. Others sat on benches, absorbed in their phones. It felt like a microcosm of the world, and he wondered if he could find his place among them. He tentatively approached a group of parents, their laughter ringing out like a welcoming bell. "Hey there!" one of them called, a woman with curly hair and a bright smile. "Is this your little one?" Yeah, this is Lily," he stammered, pointing to where she was already climbing the jungle gym, her long hair flying behind her like a flag. "She looks like she's having a blast," another parent chimed in, a tall man wearing a baseball cap. "We just got here too. The park is the best on days like this." Mark managed to nod, feeling the tension in his shoulders ease slightly. Maybe they weren't as intimidating as he feared. Maybe, just maybe, he could plug into this warmth. Their easy camaraderie reminded him of the way things used to be before life had turned so heavy. "Would you like to join us for a picnic?" the woman offered, gesturing to a blanket spread out nearby. "We're sharing snacks, and it'd be great to have you." For a split second, Mark's heart raced, not with excitement but with dread. What if he didn't belong? What if they started asking questions about his life? His heart sank with the weight of his past, the struggles, the mistakes. I appreciate it," but he hesitated, looking down at Lily, who was already absorbed in a game with another child. "Please." A gentle insistence spilled from her smile. "We're all friends here. We share the good, the snacks, the laughter." Mark felt that small spark he'd ignited earlier flicker anew within him. "Sure, okay," he found himself saying, surprising even himself. He followed her toward the blanket, fear mingling with hope. As they shared snacks and stories, words flowed more easily than he anticipated. He learned their names, Michelle and Brad. Their kids giggled as they played, and Mark found himself laughing at their antics. Each chuckle chipped away at the wall he'd built, revealing a flicker of connection he thought might be long gone in his life. It wasn't long before Mark felt something inside him shift, a smile blooming as he shared tales of Lily's favorite princess and the mischief she stirred at home. The parents listened, their eyes bright with kindness and camaraderie. But as the sunlight began to dip, so did the ease he felt. In the back of his mind, he still harbored that nagging doubt. Was he allowed to settle into this connection? Could he truly become part of a community, or was he destined to remain an outsider? Just then, a familiar face caught his eye across the park. It was Rosa, her smile as bright as he remembered. She waved, steam rising from a cup of coffee in her hand. Mark instinctively tightened his grip on the edge of the blanket. What would Rosa think of this new chapter he was trying to write? Would seeing her reignite the doubts he'd just started to shatter, or could it reinforce this budding connection he felt with Michelle, Brad, and the other parents? The warmth of the moment was palpable, yet a storm of uncertainty brewed within him. He had to navigate these new waters carefully. As he stood to wave back at Rosa, a voice inside him urged, "Take the leap, Mark." But was it really that simple? With a breath of courage, he took a step toward the future, one that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. But just how far was he willing to go to find his place? And as he looked back, he questioned if he was ready to face the choices that lay ahead. Mark's heart raced as he spotted Rosa coming his way, her smile vibrant and genuine. Her presence ignited a flicker of warmth mixed with anxiety. For a moment, he regretted choosing to participate in the picnic. What if the laughter and stories he'd just knitted together fell apart under Rosa's probing gaze? "Mark," she called, her voice bright like the sun glimmering through the trees. As she approached, he noticed the tiny pine needles stuck to her shoes, evidence of an earlier hike. "Hey, Rosa," he managed, forcing a casual tone. Beneath the veneer of calm, a whirlwind of emotions swirled inside him. Memories of the past loomed large, the laughter they once shared, the support they offered each other when life got tough. He missed those days. "Is this your daughter?" Rosa asked, glancing toward Lily, who was now giggling wildly as she played tag. Yeah. "This is Lily," Mark replied, indicating her with a nod. "We just decided to come to the park and, get some fresh air." "Oh, I see." She glanced at the picnic blanket. "Looks like you found some new friends too." "Yeah," he said, trying to sound unfazed. "Michelle and Brad, they've been really nice." Rosa's eyes lit up, her smile broadening. It's good to see you reaching out. That's important, you know. The sincerity in her voice only intensified his mix of emotions. It felt like she could see right through him. He looked down at the blanket, avoiding her gaze. I guess I'm trying to find my footing again. Rosa paused, and for a brief second, the air grew heavier. You've got to let yourself be a part of it, Mark. We all struggle, but connection is what helps us heal. His heart ached at the truth of her words. Maybe it was about stepping forward instead of pulling back. Yet vulnerability felt daunting. He liked the comfort of his shell, but it was suffocating him. Lily interrupted their moment, running up to them, out of breath and grinning like a sunbeam. Daddy! Daddy! Can we go down the slide together? Of course, sweetheart. Let us go. Mark replied, feeling Lily's excitement wash over him like a bomb. As they walked toward the playground, he noticed Rosa watching from a distance, her expression unreadable. Was she judging him for not being the dad he once was? Or was she just proud to see him making strides? At the slide, Lily giggled as they climbed up together, the sounds of other children echoing around them. Mark felt light for the first time in a long time. He pushed aside his worries and slid down with her, their laughter mingling in the air. When they climbed down, Mark noticed Michelle and the other parents watching with approving smiles. Their camaraderie felt warm and safe, something he'd yearned for but had been too afraid to embrace fully. After several thrilling rounds down the slide, Mark decided to approach the others and invite them for a game. He wanted this feeling of unity, of being part of something. Hey, everyone! Want to join us? He called out. Emboldened by Lily's joy, they gathered around, smiles brightening their faces. For the first time in what felt like ages, laughter filled the spaces between them, each chuckle a thread weaving them closer. Amidst the whirl of carefree moments, however, Mark's falling uncertainty resurfaced in the pit of his stomach. What if this was all just a fragile illusion? Just as he felt a rush of warmth from this community, the universe dropped a bombshell. One of the children in the group had started to cry. With teary eyes, he pointed towards the distant tree line. My toy! I lost my toy! Mark's moment of connection with the group shattered as the parents sprang into action, darting towards the crying child. The chatter faded into worried exclamations while Mark stood frozen, heart pounding. What if this was the moment everything unraveled? What is going to happen next? He wondered, the adrenaline churning in his veins. Would he retreat to safety, or would he step up when it mattered? But as he watched the parents rally together, he felt a surge of courage bubble within him. Maybe it was time to take the chance, to step into a role that could shape his future, and as his feet shifted forward, he knew that he was ready to face whatever came next until he saw Rosa again, standing at the edge of the playground. Her eyes bore into him, waiting to see if he would act. Caught in her gaze, he wondered, could he truly embrace this moment of risk? Would he finally commit to not just being a father to Lily, but also a part of this blossoming community, even if it meant facing his insecurities head-on? Mark felt a weight settle on his shoulders as he stared across the playground, where the child continued to cry for his lost toy. The scene unfolded in front of him like a movie, and somewhere in his mind, he could hear an inner voice urging him to get involved. He had a choice to make. With tentative steps, Mark approached the distressed child, who was kneeling on the grass, his small face scrunched up in frustration. Hey there, buddy. What toy did you lose? Mark asked, lowering himself to the boy's level. He felt the soft grass beneath his knees, grounding him. It was a blue dinosaur. The child sobbed, pointing vaguely toward the trees. Mark glanced towards his friends, who were already fanning out in search of the toy. He took a deep breath and felt his heart race, not from fear this time, but from a newfound determination. Let us find that dinosaur together. Can you show me where you last saw it? With a hesitant nod, the boy rose, his tears drying as he believed in Mark's kindness. They walked toward the edge of the playground, where the branches cast playful shadows on the ground. Mark could feel a sense of shared purpose growing, not just in the boy, but in himself too. As they searched the ground, Mark's thoughts drifted to Rosa. Would she be proud of him for stepping up? The warmth of her smile shone in his mind, dulling the anxiety that had been gnawing at him. Just as quickly, that warmth was overshadowed by doubt. Was he making a fool of himself for trying to connect? Is it here? The boy asked, looking up at Mark with wide, hopeful eyes. Let's check under this bush, Mark suggested, kneeling down to look. His fingers brushed against the rough bark, half expecting to pull out the small dinosaur. We'll find it, I promise. Mark's focus snapped back to the searching parents nearby. They were laughing now, some returning with various toys they had found, the laughter a testament to the unity unfolding. He felt an odd mix of joy and longing as he wished for that closeness to a bond that had almost slipped through his fingers. Just then, he spotted something bright blue poking out from under a nearby pine tree. Wait a minute! He shouted, excitement rising in his chest. He dashed over, and with swift movements, retrieved the dinosaur. Look what I found! The boy's face turned from despair to absolute delight. That's it! He exclaimed, taking the toy from Mark's hands. Then, the laughter erupted from their group as the boy's parents rushed forward, their worry replaced with relief. Mark stood there, heart swelling with pride. In that moment, he didn't just see a young boy with a toy, he saw a tight circle of parents and children, all connected by joy and relief. He felt the warmth of acceptance wrap around him, breaking the cold walls he had built around himself. Way to go, Mark! Echoed Michelle's voice, bringing him back to the moment, her smile lighting up the gathering. Rosa joined them, her eyes sparkling with admiration, and Mark felt a rush of gratitude. He had stepped outside his shell and found not just confidence, but also a flicker of hope, a desire to be part of this community. Thanks for helping him, Rosa said, her voice soft, filled with genuine warmth. It takes courage to step in like that. Mark smiled, the bond between them felt tangible. But deep down, he still wrestled with uncertainty. What would he do next? He had faced one moment, but life was full of them. Lily bounded over, pulling him from his thoughts. Daddy, that was so cool. Can we do it again? Mark chuckled, his heart still racing. We can do whatever you want, sweetheart. As laughter flowed around them, a shadow of doubt flickered at the corners of his mind. If facing one fear had brought such connection, what else awaited him on this path of stepping out? And just like that, with newfound determination, Mark looked back to the group surrounding him and realized the most profound journey was just beginning. Was he truly ready to embrace it all, the fears and joys mingled together? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, a mix of excitement and trepidation danced within him. What would tomorrow hold? The next morning, sunlight filtered through the curtains, warming the room. Mark stretched and sat up, his heart still brimming with the emotions from yesterday. He glanced at Lily, still curled up in her blankets, her hair a tousled mess. It was such a simple scene, yet it filled him with a sense of peace. A smile crept across his face as he stepped gently onto the floor. Today felt different. There was a spark in the air, a pull urging him to embrace whatever the day had in store. After getting Lily breakfast, they planned to go grocery shopping. As he readied himself, Mark's mind wandered back to the boy and the dinosaur. The joy that had radiated from the child and the parents' heartfelt gratitude brought a warmth that wrapped around him like a blanket. He realized then that it wasn't just the toy he had found that had mattered, but the connection and the community he had tapped into. Daddy, can we pick out cookies? Lily yelled from the other room, breaking his thoughts. Of course. He called back, laughter bubbling up. It felt good to be okay with laughter again. The store was bustling, filled with chatter and shopping carts rolling down the aisles. Mark and Lily explored each section. She tugged at his hand, pointing out bright cereal boxes and animated characters adorning snacks. Mark watched her, the pure joy on her face was undeniable. It filled the empty spaces inside him he hadn't realized were there. As they approached the dairy section, though, a rush of anxiety washed over him. Milk. It should be easy, but each time he had been out with Lily before, he had stumbled through, his heart racing at every turn. He could feel that familiar sense of doubt creeping back. "Which milk do we need?" Lily asked, pulling down a colorful carton. "That one." She decided, a triumphant grin plastered on her face. Mark grabbed the carton, but his eyes were drawn to the mothers nearby, their conversations filled with laughter and gentle teasing. Somewhere within him, a knot tightened. He worried he didn't belong there, didn't fit into this picture. Just as he turned away, he spotted that same boy from the playground. He was with his mom, happily debating between different kinds of cereal. "Hey!" the boy exclaimed. "You helped me find my dinosaur." Mark couldn't help but kneel down to meet the boy's radiant smile. "I sure did. Looks like you're getting some snacks today." The boy beamed proudly, holding up a box of brightly colored cereal. His mom looked at Mark, eyes twinkling with kindness. It was such an ordinary moment, yet it stirred something profound within him. "Thanks again for yesterday," she said genuinely. "It's nice to see kids supporting each other." The boy nodded excitedly. "Yeah. Can we find dinosaurs together anytime?" Mark chuckled, feeling the weight of his doubts begin to lift. "Absolutely." As they wrapped up their shopping, Mark felt lighter, like the lingering cloud of insecurity was dissipating. He shared a few more light moments with Lily and even joked with the cashier. Maybe he did belong. Maybe stepping out wasn't about overcoming massive fears, but instead, about accepting the smaller moments that led to something bigger. On the way home, they talked about what they'd bake with the cookies. Suddenly, the thought struck him, what if they invited others over? The laughter echoed in his mind. But as they parked the car, he spotted something in his rear-view mirror. A package on his front porch. What was it? With his heart racing in anticipation, he turned to Lily. "Let's check it out. Could it be a sign, some piece of the puzzle falling into place?" Mark couldn't shake the feeling that this was the first step toward something meaningful, but what awaited him was still shrouded in mystery. Mark opened the car door, the warmth of the afternoon sun urging him forward. Lily hopped out and raced up the path, her arms swinging as she ran. He followed closely behind, his pulse a mix of excitement and curiosity. What could possibly be waiting for them? As they reached the porch, Lily let out a squeal of delight. "It's my favorite," she gasped, pointing at the colorful box sitting on the doormat. Mark bent down to get a better look. It was a package addressed to Lily from someone named Ms. Evelyn. That name sent a wave of soft nostalgia over him. Ms. Evelyn had been their neighbor before the world had changed. "Should we open it?" Lily asked, eyes sparkling. Mark nodded. "Definitely." He carefully lifted the box and set it on the porch. Breaking the tape, he revealed a treasure trove of art supplies, crayons, colored paper, and a storybook that had been one of Lily's favorites when she was younger. A note slipped out and landed on the ground. Mark picked it up, unfolding it with eager hands. "Dear Lily," it read, "I hope these supplies bring you joy as you create new things. Remember, there's magic in making something beautiful. Love, Ms. Evelyn." Lily bounced on her toes. "Can we make something right now, Daddy? Can we? Can we?" "Of course, pumpkin. But first, let's bring everything inside." His heart swelled at her enthusiasm. The simple act of opening a package had brightened the entire day. Perhaps inviting others over wasn't just a notion, maybe it was a chance to reconnect and share joy. As they settled in for an afternoon of creativity, Mark felt a growing warmth in his chest. They spread the supplies across the dining table, markers and glitter mingling with sticky notes, each sticker a new opportunity for stories and laughter. He listened to Lily's excited chatter as she described her ideas, her imagination soaring, and he felt himself relax, but amidst the cheer, an echo of anxiety surfaced. Memories of Ms. Evelyn, the warmth of her smile, her unyielding support triggered thoughts about this new leap he was considering. Inviting friends over felt daunting. What if they judged him? What if he failed to create the joyous atmosphere he envisioned? He shook his head, dismissing the fears. Today was about making memories. "Daddy, look!" Lily shouted, waving a masterpiece, a rainbow-colored drawing of their imaginary dinosaur friends flying through clouds. "What if we make one for them too? Like the boy and his mom?" He stared at the drawing in awe, realizing it was more than just lines and colors. It was a bridge, a way to connect with those around them. "That's a brilliant idea," he replied, his voice tinged with newfound energy. The thought of sharing their art brought a fluttering hope that maybe, just maybe, taking this step wouldn't be so bad. Just as they were settling back in, a knock came from the door, jolting them both. Mark looked at Lily, confusion flashing in her eyes. Who could it be? Mark opened the door hesitantly. Standing there was a figure he hadn't expected, a neighbor from across the street, a familiar face he hadn't seen in years. "Hey, Mark. I saw you around and thought I'd drop by," she said, nerves dancing in her voice. As Mark inhaled deeply, the door creaked open wider. One look at Lily, already bursting with artistic energy, told him it was time to embrace the unexpected. His heart raced with the possibilities of connection, transformation, and maybe even new friendships blossoming in their living room. But would this opening lead him closer to the support he so desperately craved? "Come in. We've just started making art," Mark said, stepping aside and letting the present moment take hold. A new beginning seemed to rest on the horizon, but would he have the courage to fully embrace it? Mark stepped aside, letting the neighbor in, uncertainty mixed with hope swirling in his chest. "Glad you could make it," he managed to say, offering a tentative smile. The woman stepped through the door, shaking off the remnants of lingering nerves. "I'm Amanda, by the way. We used to wave at each other now and then." Her voice was warm, and as she spoke, Mark recognized the kindness in her eyes, despite the time that had passed. "Of course. It's great to see you again," he replied, noting how Lily's excitement was contagious. He loved seeing her enthusiasm for meeting new people. "Wow, you're an artist," Amanda exclaimed, eyeing the colorful array of supplies sprawled across the dining table. "Lily, those are some amazing drawings. Mind if I join?" "Please." Lily's face lit up brighter than the sun shining through the window. "We're making pictures for Ms. Evelyn and other friends." Mark felt a wave of relief wash over him. This was happening. A small gathering of creativity and laughter had begun to unfold. Amanda effortlessly sank into their world, grabbing a crayon and sketching alongside Lily, encouraging her with little remarks that fueled Lily's imagination. "So, you and Lily," Amanda began while drawing, "what have you two been up to lately? I hadn't seen you around much." Mark hesitated. "It's been a bit of a journey since everything changed." The words hung heavy in the air. Amanda nodded, a knowing look in her eyes that encouraged him to continue. "I get that. Transitioning isn't easy." To his surprise, the words flowed from him more easily than he'd expected. He shared bits of their story, how they were starting anew while navigating loss and rebuilding connections. Lily continued to create her masterpiece, her focus unwavering, but she would intermittently glance up, catching snippets of the conversation. Mark felt a sense of safety in sharing his struggle, and he silently thanked the universe for this moment, a bond forming between them, small yet significant. "You're doing a wonderful job as a dad," Amanda said gently. "It's not easy, but you're not alone. Many of us are in the same boat." Mark met her gaze, the kindness in her voice settling a sweet ache. "I didn't know how much I needed to hear that. Thank you." Just then, Lily interrupted, holding up her drawing to show them both. "Look. It's a parade of colorful dinosaurs." They're going to Ms. Evelyn S. house to show her how to have fun. Mark laughed, his heart full. I think Ms. Evelyn would love that. Can we put it in the window for everyone to see? Yeah. Lily cheered, her eyes shining bright. As they moved to display her art, Mark felt a rush of gratitude. What started as anxiety had transformed into an afternoon of connection, laughter, and unspoken understanding. But amidst the joy, a flicker of doubt crept back in. What about the risk of vulnerability? Was he ready to open up more? What if others didn't respond as Amanda had? As if reading his mind, Amanda turned to him with sincerity etched on her face. It's scary sharing your journey, but you never know who might need to hear it, too. Mark contemplated her words, realizing they embodied exactly what he yearned for: a community, a support system, those willing to lift each other up against the backdrop of life's challenges. Just then, a faint chime echoed from the front door. Mark furrowed his brow, wondering if maybe another surprise visitor was at hand. Should I check who it is? He asked, glancing back at Amanda. Could be someone interesting, Amanda replied with a playful smile. With a tentative but hopeful heart, Mark turned towards the door again, feeling that every twist from here on out might hold a piece of the community he longed for. And as he pulled open the door, he couldn't help but wonder just how drastically his world was about to shift once again. Mark opened the door, his breath catching as he took in the figure standing there. It was a tall man, wearing a broad-brimmed hat that shielded his eyes. The cool breeze gently stirred the fabric of his worn denim shirt, and he seemed to carry a weight of stories on his shoulders. Hey, neighbor, the man said, his voice deep and warm. I'm David. Just moved in across the street. Figured I'd introduce myself. Mark felt a smile spreading across his face. Nice to meet you, David. Come on in, we're just having a little art session. David stepped inside, glancing around the brightly decorated space where laughter filled the air. Amanda was still on the floor, leaning in closer to Lily as they shared ideas for dinosaurs wearing hats and roller skates. Looks like you've got a real artist in the house, David said, kneeling down to get a better view of the colorful chaos sprawled across the table. Thank you. I'm making a parade of fun. Lily exclaimed, giggling at the attention. It looks fantastic. David said, his eyes sparkling. I can't wait to see them march down the street. Mark felt an unexpected warmth toward David. He was just as easygoing as Amanda, and Mark sensed something genuine in his voice. Maybe today was a turning point, a moment of real connection. So, how's the move going? Amanda asked, leaning against the wall with a curious spark. David chuckled, running a hand through his hair. It's going all right. A bit of a climb, but I think we'll settle in just fine. This community seems nice and I'm hoping to get to know my neighbors. Mark, still riding on the wave of happiness from earlier, felt an urge to share again. We've all been working on building connections. It's a bit daunting sometimes, but it helps to have people around you. David met his gaze. You're right. We need each other. Especially after tough times. Just as the mood lifted, Lily burst into a moment of drama. Can we all make a big picture together? A picture of everyone having fun? Mark's heart skipped. The idea was innocent yet powerful. A moment of collaboration, of creating something greater together. Great idea, Lily. Amanda echoed, clapping her hands. Let us do it. David added enthusiastically. Everyone else included, right? I can grab some more art supplies from my car. Mark was taken aback with this simple expression of kindness. It surprised him people were stepping forward, offering their support. Maybe sharing vulnerability didn't have to come with fear. As David left the room, Amanda shifted her attention back to Mark. You know, this is a chance to foster friendships, just like you've talked about. You've taken the first step by opening your door. Mark felt the cogs in his mind turning. Yeah, I guess it is. But what if I get too close? What if the past only brings you closer to healing? Amanda interrupted softly, her eyes locking on his. Sometimes vulnerability leads to growth, sometimes it leads to unexpected friendships. You have to let it unfold. Before Mark could respond, David returned with an armful of supplies. All right, I found some colorful paper and markers. Who's ready to create a masterpiece? The room buzzed with excitement as they spread out the supplies. Mark felt something shift inside him, a willingness to push through his fears. As they all gathered around the table, laughter mingled with chatter, Lily leading the charge in storytelling about how each character in their drawing would interact, but as he began to draw, there was a sudden knock at the door again. Mark's heart raced, wondering aloud who could possibly be arriving now. Do you think it's a party crasher? Amanda teased, standing up to see. The laughter faded as the knocking continued. Mark's fingers tingled with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. What did you bring for us? He called, half joking, a nervous smile on his face, but little did he know, what awaited on the other side of that door would challenge everything he believed about community and support. Mark opened the door, half expecting another friendly neighbor or a surprise visitor. Instead, he found a familiar face. Rosa stood there, her warm smile illuminating the doorway. Hey, Mark. I saw kids laughing and wanted to check in. I hope I'm not interrupting. Rosa. He exclaimed, surprise filling his voice. Not at all. You're just in time. We're making a big picture together. Her eyes widened, joy radiating from her. Oh, how wonderful. Count me in. She stepped inside, her presence instantly making the room feel a little lighter. Mark felt an odd surge of happiness. Each person around him added a layer of warmth he hadn't anticipated. The laughter and conversations resumed with an easy flow, and soon, their collective creations began to take shape. Colors dotted the pages, and bright narratives unfolded as Lily eagerly guided everyone through her imaginative tales. Look at that, Rosa. It's a parade of dinosaurs, and they've come to celebrate. Lily announced, bubbling with enthusiasm. Every parade needs music. Rosa declared, and without missing a beat, she began humming a lively tune, causing everyone to join in with smiles and laughter. Mark watched in awe as the room transformed into a whirlwind of creativity. Each stroke of the crayon was not just an act of art, but a step toward connection, a fabric being woven of shared stories, hopes, and laughter. He felt the warmth radiate through him, embracing the vulnerability of the moment. How long have you known each other? David asked, gesturing toward Mark and Rosa, curiosity glimmering in his eyes. Just a few days, but sometimes the most genuine connections come from brief encounters, Mark replied, the poignancy of his own words settling in. Rosa grinned, her spirit shining with understanding. What about you, David? What brings you to our corner of the world? She inquired, pulling him into conversation. As David opened up about his move and the stories that crafted his journey, Mark felt a swell of camaraderie. Strangers were sharing pieces of their hearts, opening up like flowers reaching for the sun. Hours slipped by, the rhythms of laughter and chatter intertwining effortlessly, every moment stitched the community closer. The vibrant parade of drawings was now nearly complete, a tapestry of creativity the likes of which had never graced their street. Mark stepped back and surveyed the scene, the messy art table, Lily's beaming face, and the familiar comforts of friendship blossoming around him. In that instant, he felt a profound realization sink into his soul: he was no longer alone. Okay, everyone. Mark announced, his voice booming over the cheerful chaos. What if we display the finished masterpiece in our windows for everyone to see? This is a symbol of what we've created today and a reminder that we can always come together. Everyone cheered, excitement bubbling as they prepared to make their collective creation visible to the neighborhood, a declaration of connection, warmth, and newfound hope. Lily jumped in place, her energy contagious. Can we add sparkles to it? They will make it even more magical. Rosa and Amanda immediately agreed, rummaging for glitter as excitement buzzed in the air. The shared laughter echoed in Mark's heart, each joyous sound a step further away from the isolation he once felt. As they finished the artwork and affixed it to the front window, Mark glanced around at the faces he hadn't known just days ago. What a difference a few moments of vulnerability could make. In that sweet, soft twilight glow, something in Mark shifted, a warmth that signaled not just a coming together of artists but a gathering of souls willing to support one another. "Thank you," he whispered to Rosa, his voice barely breaking through the joyous chatter. "For reminding me of what I lost and showing me what could be." Rosa's eyes sparkled. "Remember, Mark, we all need each other more than we expect. That's where the magic happens." As laughter filled the air once more, Mark felt a transformation unfold within him, a confidence born from connection and love that filled a hollow place he'd thought could never be filled again. He realized that every step he'd taken had led him to this moment, where community enveloped him and reminded him that even the smallest acts of kindness could light up the darkest days. And as they packed up and shared laughter one last time before the evening ended, Mark looked out into the neighborhood, filled with gratitude and hope. He was home where love blossomed and connections were cultivated in the most colorful ways imaginable. This was just the beginning, a new chapter filled with possibilities that lay ahead. If you felt moved by this journey of transformation, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to catch all the exclusive stories that will inspire and uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread the love. Comment below with your feelings about this ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Let us build this community together.